What a fantastic season full of great ideas. And now I want to show you some ways to take those ideas and stretch even further. So first up, you'll recall that I taught you how to carve a stamp that matches so that you have a two-part stamp, and we used it on a layout. You'll also remember that we made this adorable little Christmas card, right, with the shrink plastic embellishment here. So what I've done is I've smashed those ideas together to create this card that you can see right here, which has a nice, I would say like a spring feel to me. It would be perfect, I think, for a baby shower, wedding, something like that. So I want to show you how easy it is to do. The first thing is I simply changed the colors of ink that I was using. So if I go ahead and I just open this up and I'm going to go pushing down onto my ink pad, making sure that I know which way my arrow is pointing, because remember, it's the arrow on the back of the block that makes sure that the two line up perfectly. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this out a couple times so that you can see how we're going to create that beautiful background. And this is also a great thing to do when you want to do something but you're not sure or you're short on creative time. Go ahead and create some pretty papers all of your own, and then you have them in your stash the next time that you want to create. So I'm going to go ahead now and just push that down. Again, my arrow is still pointing the correct way, and you can see what a very cool look that is. And again, by using blue on blue, it makes the background slightly less aggressive. It fades back. We've talked a little bit about using tone on tone stuff. It is a nice soft look, okay? So that's the first step, and then you can see, of course, that I cut it down and mounted it onto a card. The second part is this cute little tag embellishment. So again, I have a variety of sizes of these shrink plastic embellishments. It doesn't really matter, but I think the thing that's important is actually, this is a piece of yarn, okay? And it's that little bow that really makes this look like something special. And you don't have to do anything hard. It's the same as tying your shoelaces or anything like that. You simply tie it around, create a bow, put it on the tag, put it on the card, and you can see how cute that is. So the next idea I have for you is about using all those little quick backgrounds, if you'll recall. So we made with Cheryl a bunch of these fast backgrounds and quick techniques that you can see. So here's what I did. I used an electronic cutter to cut out a bunch of butterfly shapes, and I think you can see from the negative here what that looks like. You could, of course, use a punch or anything else that works for you. And if you look at my layout, you'll see it's like a massive, wonderful thing of butterflies just swimming, flying, whatever it is that butterflies do, right down the side of my page. And this is so easy to do. So I want to show you also to remember that just because something looks like a face here doesn't mean it has to stay that way. I took a very similar print that we made, I cut out my butterflies, and now you can see I have these beautiful butterflies. So how do we make these dimensional butterflies? Well, it's actually, the key is foam adhesive. So I'm going to do something, because these foam adhesive pieces are too big. I'm actually going to cut them into some smaller pieces, and this is a nice way to also make your foam adhesive last a little bit longer. I'm great on saving supplies. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a butterfly. I'm going to place a little tiny sliver of foam adhesive right down on it, peel off the paper that's on top of it. Then I'm going to take a smaller butterfly, place it onto that. Remember how I only placed foam adhesive in the center. Then I'm going to bend the wings, and now you can see how easily my butterfly is taking flight. And if I combine them with a lot, it really just, well, it looks fantastic. So one more tip that I want to show you about this layout is, if you look here, I drew out the word sisters first with a marker. And I decided that a marker gives you really even pressure, and it's just too neat. And what I actually wanted to do is to use a paintbrush to do it, because it was a bit messier. So I cut it out, and first I cut it out of black, which, if you look here, you can see the black doesn't pop. It's not enough. But by cutting the title, the same exact thing, out of the same paper that the butterflies were cut out of, it really brings it across and brings the whole layout together. Okay, so now the next idea I have is, you'll recall we made a beautiful vase of felt and fabric flowers with Cheryl, and we had them on a stick. So I simply removed the stick, and then I changed up the center a little bit. Cheryl had originally used these button brads, which are really cute, but not quite the look I was looking for. So I simply replaced it with a paper circle and a little bit of yarn, actually stealing the same idea that we did with the tags, where that yarn really makes a difference. Then this this is one of the messy backgrounds that we created. I cut it down, and that little margin is a really important detail that makes this pop. Then you simply place the flower onto it, a couple of leaves, which you could cut by hand, you could cut with an electronic cutter, a punch, whatever it is that you have, and then a sentiment. And I want to show you how easy it is to make this cute little sentiment card, which I think makes the card really fantastic. So I have a tiny little tag, and I just buy these at the office supply store. And then I'm gonna use my regular handwriting, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna think about making the letters really sort of tall and skinny. Now, if you wanted, you could take any of the calligraphy lessons and writing lessons that Joanne's been teaching us, and you could use one of those techniques here too. But you should never be afraid of your own handwriting. I think it's important to embrace it, to love it, to think that it's awesome, because it is one of those things like a fingerprint that is completely and totally uniquely you. And don't worry if your letters are different sizes or anything like that. That's part of the fun of hand lettering. But this tag is not quite enough. To finish it off, I think we should add a little bit of stamping. So I simply took a little roller stamp, and there you go, right across there, boom, ba-doom, boom, boom. Now I have a gorgeous finished tag to put as a sentiment on my card. Okay, so the next idea that I have for you is making a fabulous little mini album, which you can see here. Remember the mat board that Cheryl used to just mix her paints on? I cut it down with a regular paper trimmer, and I use it as my covers because it's nice and heavy. And then inside you can see whether you have just a photo or a little leftover drawing. It could be a tag. It can be little journaling cards that maybe you didn't even finish. It can be leftover bits and pieces of backgrounds using a variety of media. You can put things in forwards, backwards, pattern paper, all sorts of stuff. And if you wanted this to be a scrapbook, you can, of course, add your photos to it. You can add any of the doodles or drawings or anything else that you have in there. You can add anything that you'd like. If you want it to be an art journal, you can simply add little embellishments or sayings to it, pockets. And here I think is a kind of fun idea. Sometimes if you have a leftover die cut, you want to use it somehow, but I couldn't figure out how to punch the hole in this. And then I figured out to use a little tab. So I have one here, and I want to show you how easy that is. I'm going to take a piece of pattern paper, and I'm simply going to run some adhesive down it so that it's nice and sticky. You could also do this with tape if you had pretty washi tape or something like that. Then I'm going to place this right there. Okay, this is going to create a little nice area for me. And then you can fold one side up. And then let's snip this. We're gonna fold one side down, and then where the overlap is, I'm just going to snip it nice and clean. Now, I have a hole punch here, just a regular 3-hole punch, but you can see I've put these yellow pieces of tape on it. And that's because this now fits perfectly, so I know where to punch it. So I'm just gonna go ahead, slip it in, punch it, and now this is ready to put in my album. So you can see how you can take everything that you have, turn it into a scrapbook album, into an art journal, whatever it is you need. Well, I got lots of fresh new ideas. I hope you did too. Thank you for joining us this season, and be sure to visit us online through our website, on our Facebook page, on the blog, or share with us through Instagram. Keep in touch. We love to hear from you, and remember to always keep it fresh by trying new ways to create with Scrapbook Soup.